latest episode of BAM Weekly. That's Boris and Matt Weekly, the show where we chat about some sports, the show where we chat about entertainment, and then we bring it all together to chat some sports entertainment. We're your hosts. I'm Boris, and as always, I am joined by Matt.
Bonjour! How's everybody doing out there? We hope you're doing well. Boris, it's summertime in Toronto, which means that the air is a thick, dark cloud that you couldn't cut through with a fucking chainsaw. How you feeling today, big homie?
Good. Very relaxed. I've taken this week completely off. I haven't even been online too much. Barely checking email, barely checking anything. And that's really, just it's a much needed few days off. But we're back here chatting all we do here on SNME Radio and the BAM Network. And yeah, man, it's just it's going well. It's going well. Long weekend vibes here in the city. And for me, like, we at work we're celebrating Canada Day today, so happy Canada Day to everyone. And then Monday, Tuesday, it's 4th of July, right? So basically I'm not gonna really be working till like mid to late next week, so I'm fucking feeling great. How are you, my friend?
That's awesome. Also feeling great. Canada Day tomorrow. Lots of fun for lots of us, and definitely get up to some shenanigans there. But yeah, man, no, life is good. Other than the fact, it's legitimately gross to walk around Toronto right now because between the smog and the wildfires happening all over Canada, it's just rough. The air quality is gross, very humid. But like, I mean, other than dumb weather shit, which is like it's worse in other places, life is pretty good, my friend. Lots to discuss on this here podcast, and we have a tradition on BAM. We do on Canada Day the best matches of the year so far. We have so much on this podcast that we're gonna keep that separate. We like to leave those as standalone specials, so that's coming at you on Canada Day. Celebrate with a beer or a burger, or in the morning with some maple syrup and porridge. I don't know.
Beaver tails.
Yeah,
I haven't had one of those in forever. Where the fuck does one get a beaver tail?
On the way to the ACC, you see like 7 beaver tail stands. I actually have never in my life eaten a beaver tail.
Yeah, I don't think I have either, to be honest. I've had funnel cake.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, but I don't think I've had a beaver tail, to be honest.
All right, next time we're out and about, Boris, beaver tails, team beef. Yes, let's do it.
I'm gonna make a Hooker Hardy's joke, but I won't. I'll digress.
Very good.
Oh no, but dude, the air is really bad. I was out and about on Wednesday evening, and honestly, like, my baby lungs just couldn't fucking take it anymore. Like, I'm still coughing a lot.
Oh, geez. You did that long COVID, longest of all COVIDs?
No,
it's just like the smog. It's literally
lungs,
the air is thick. No.
Yep. It's thick, to say the least. As thick as, I don't know, something that's thick. I'm not, you see, the problem is because I'm like so relaxed, I'm very tranquilo today. So it's like, whatever, man. What are we doing today? You tell me.
Yes, thicker than a Reuben sandwich, thicker than 2 Snickers, the air outside. But yeah, man, I guess we got to talk about some sports. We could start with the NHL draft, the big happenings of the last couple days. Connor Bedard, officially a Blackhawk scandal, officially swept under rug. We saw Leo Carlson go to the Ducks. We saw Columbus get a really good player in Adam Fantilli. Montreal Canadiens drafted a defenseman out of Austria who Carey Price butchered his name. That was very fun. But yeah, lots happening in the NHL draft. Did you watch any of it?
No. So that's a lie. I caught bits and pieces in like background of the places that I was at, but I didn't like sit down and really watch too much. I watch hockey, but I don't follow it to the extent that I do other sports. So, Matt, you tell me, was it a good draft for your Canadiens?
Well, it was all right. I've seen some people say that they were like one of the big losers of the draft, but I just think they're going to come and go with David Reinbacher, again, who is the Austrian defenseman. I think he's hopefully going to be pretty good. They hopefully have gotten a long-term top 4 defenseman there. So that alone, pretty good draft, I suppose. But yeah, no, I think the big winners of the draft are for sure Chicago. They got the best player. Connor Bedard is going to skate in. He's one of the best shooters in hockey. Walks into the league with top top 20 shot in all of the NHL. So they're obviously a huge winner. Thought the Blue Jackets had a great draft because they just kind of kept having good players fall to them, chiefly Adam Fantilli, who is going to be a damn fine center. Columbus is sneaky. They're going to be pretty good in a couple of years. I way overrated them last year, but they got some pieces. Philadelphia Flyers ended up with Matvey Michkov, Boris, who is the big Russian prospect. Obviously, there's lots of issues happening in Russia. This poor man, Matvey Michkov, his father was killed in the war recently, like this year. So yeah, I feel bad for him in that respect. But yeah, who knows what's going to happen with Russian players for a while. So there's been some hesitancy to draft Russians. Although if you really think about it in the NHL, how many kids are walking into the league from this draft? Maybe just one, maybe just Connor Bedard, right? It takes these kids 3 or 4 years to show up into the league anyway. So you might as well roll the dice on who could be the second best player in this entire draft. But yeah, nothing too interesting in terms of trades. Some cool picks in the first round. Pretty average, pretty basic NHL draft.
Right. So GMs are playing it safe still.
Yeah, I would say not learning the lessons of Vegas and Florida. There were a couple trades before the draft, nothing really on draft night, which kind of begs the question, why bother giving 32 teams a table and putting them out on the floor if no one's going to talk to each other anymore, you know?
That's exactly it. What's here's the thing about the NHL. Not only do I not like follow the NHL as much as I do other sports, right? But the whole Chicago thing and Chicago having the number 1 draft, and Chicago essentially being given the PR treatment after all the bullshit that they've done, it's really leaving a sour taste in my mouth.
I completely agree with that. We've said our piece on that. We don't need to go deep into it again. But yeah, Chicago should have been punished. They should not have won this draft. And regardless of whether it was fixed or not, I think that belittles the point of it should never have happened anyway. But it sure did work out perfectly for the NHL and Gary Bettman yet again.
The gift that keeps on giving, Gary Bettman.
Yeah, brother. The gift that keeps on giving to Arizona, but not to Quebec. I guess he's a little better to Canada than I give him credit for, though. We got a couple nice debates on the old BAM Facebook page about this. I am certainly biased against Gary Bettman. He's not as bad as I act, but I act like he's Satan.
But people also go a little too far. Like they don't fully, they again forget what his job is. It's not to protect the NHL. It's to protect the 32 owners.
Absolutely right. And he does a damn fine job of that. He really does.
Yep. As any good commissioner does, right? Like that's literally their job. They're not here for the fans. They're here for the owners and to increase their profits and yada, yada, yada. But we've had that debate and chat ad nauseum here.
Yeah, brother. So anyway, that wraps up my sports. I guess your Kings made a pretty big trade. They traded for Pierre-Luc Dubois. There was talk he was going to go to Montreal, obviously because of the French factor. But yeah, the Kings paid a good ransom for him. To the Winnipeg Jet fans, awesome trade for the Jets. Gabriel Velarde and Rasmus Kupari could be 2 NHL players for a long time. And also Iafallo already is an NHL player. So yeah, lots to like in Winnipeg. There's a big payday for this kid, big price to pay for Los Angeles, but they like him a lot, obviously.
Yep. So that's that. Sports this is kind of like the dog days of sports where it's not much going on in terms of sports. A few weeks though, we'll be chatting about kind of like the mid-card ratings for the MLB, see how MLB teams are doing. We're about halfway there. The All-Star break is coming up, and there are some teams that are surprising me and some teams that aren't surprising me. And then there's the fucking Jays, who I still think should have fired Schneider back in October. He should not have been manager after that playoff game, and he's continuously proving why.
We said it. I was shocked. I thought he was going to get fired. Shocked that he kept his job. And yeah, well, I don't know. He seems like a very nice dude. I don't want to sit here and call for his head or anything. But yeah, I feel like
big difference.
I feel like it's not working out.
Big difference between being a nice and being good at your job.
Oh, 1,000,000%.
Charlie
I'm
Montoya.
just saying I don't personally want to come for his head. But you're 1,000% right. Absolutely. But yeah, no, okay. I think it's clearly time for a change. I think.
But here's the thing that scares me: the person who's going to get his job is the person that we hire in the offseason. I called it, and I'm going to call it, and I'm going to say I was right in a few weeks when it eventually does happen. And I'm telling you this: Don Mattingly is not any better whatsoever.
No, you don't think so? You think it's just the same kind of problems, probably?
He relies too much on analytics, and this is something that the Dodgers have done, and why I hate the Dodgers sometimes, and why I think Roberts is the second worst manager in the league behind John Schneider. And that's they don't use their gut feeling. When your bullpen is tired and Kikuchi's having a hell of a game, why do you rely on this tired bullpen?
No, it's like you said, it's analytics, but that's just baseball now. The managers have less to do with it than ever before, man. Every manager relies on analytics, but it is frustrating. It's fucking brutal to watch, man.
I can tell you some managers that tell the analytics people to eat it, but that's the difference between World Series champions and World Series contenders, and that's right there what it is. Because in my opinion, the best managers are the ones who still use their gut.
A dying breed, sadly, but yeah, man, it'd be great to get a fucking, I don't know, Buck Showalter is someone. Buck Martinez, give him the fucking reins again.
What's Bobby Valentine doing?
He's wearing a disguise somewhere. I would rather have
him, Bobby Valentine, than Don Mattingly.
Would you rather have Tony La Russa?
Yes.
Than Don Mattingly?
Yes.
No, that's ridiculous.
No,
get out. That is absurd.
I would.
Tony La Russa led the White Sox into the fucking ditch last year. No, man, I disagree.
Don Mattingly is going to do the same with the Jays. Trust me. Dude, he was given the Dodgers team at its core and couldn't get them past the divisional series.
The baseball playoffs are so hard, man. I don't know. I think it's foolish to write off Mattingly before he even gets the job, and it's absolutely fucking asinine to say that he would be worse than Tony La Russa was last year.
Would be.
But we shall see. I sure hope that's wrong. Boy, I sure hope that's wrong.
I've seen him as a coach, though. I know what to expect with Don Mattingly, and it's going to be frustration after. You think people are frustrated now? Just wait till Don Mattingly's in charge, and Don Mattingly starts fucking with the players and starts pissing off the Bichettes and the Guerreros and such.
All right, man. Well, again, I'm not gonna let's worry about that bridge when we cross it, but sadly for old Schneider, it might be in a fucking week or two.
Yeah, that all-star game is coming very close, so I'm sure that's when the conversations are really going to start heating up. But you know what, like I said, I don't want Schneider to go. In terms of, I think he's good for what he is, but he's just made some core issues, and he has a team right now at its best, like the players, that is, and I don't know. It's just not working. It's just not working out at this point, unfortunately.
No, it certainly is not. You can't argue with the results. Are they still above 500?
I think barely.
Okay.
Yeah. They
word. Yeah, I'll quickly look this up. Do you have any other sportses to talk about?
No, not really. NBA.
All right, fair enough.
What's going on in the NBA right now? A lot of
James Harden trade rumblings. Apparently, he has opted into his contract and asked for a trade. So I don't know. He's definitely over the hill. Generously speaking, but he can still be a productive NBA player. I wonder who's going to trade for him. I sincerely hope it's not the Raptors.
Oh God, no! No. That'd be stupid. That would be absolutely just chaotic and dumb of them at this point. But I have a question for you. Where do you think Fred VanVleet's going to end up?
Well, it seems like the Rockets are ready to drop a big bag on him. I think I value Fred VanVleet's contributions. I think a lot of our fan base is very toxic, like chirping Fred VanVleet as though he didn't help out a lot. But for the price that he wants, that someone else is willing to pay him, I'm ready for him to leave.
That's exactly it, right? Like, and again, look, the NBA fans in Toronto, in my opinion, the Toronto Raptor fans are the worst fans in the league because they're such homers about the team. They it boggles my mind sometimes, the Raptors fans.
I'm not sure, like the rank and file average Raptors fan is really cool, but the vocal internet Raptors fan is definitely the most annoying and worst fan base in the league. They will like dox you if you say bad things about their players online, and just just very, very toxic fan base. They all want Masai to be fired. They all want this and that. They all are chirping all of our players, and everyone's terrible, but we won a title 3.5 years ago. So it's ridiculous. But Toronto fans are a little fickle. Boris, dare I say that Jays fans are a little fickle because the Blue Jays are in the playoffs right now. They are 45-37, a half game above the Houston Astros, don't you know, and above the LA Angels as well. So there's lots of baseball left, but at this moment, Toronto would make the playoffs.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like here's the thing though, and this is like with any fan base, right? Like when you're promised so much and it's not delivering, and then you look at the individual numbers and you look at the fact that we're 4th in the AL East, right? Like, and then you start comparing the Jays to other teams, and they're just not as good right now. On paper, they're as good, if not better, than any other team in the league, but that's that.
Well, losing in Manoah really hurt. He just plucking him off the roster, and he's in Double-A, struggling bad there too.
We didn't lose him. Manoah lost Manoah.
Well, I'm just saying, like he's off the roster. Yeah. We losing him, like losing his contributions that we expected didn't help. You know, like I think we're doing a pretty good job considering we're playing from behind with the manager and with no ace. Although Kevin Gausman is an ace. He's an ace right now.
And that's the funny part, is like people forget how good he is, right? And that he technically was our ace. We didn't know what Manoah was going to be last year, and God knows what's happening to Manoah. It's a curious case of Manoah, akin to Mr. Romero from a few years ago. It just reminds me so much of him.
It reminds me, hopefully, of Halladay, where Halladay came out of the gate amazing, almost pitched a no-hitter in his first game, then stumbled, went back down, and then came back, found it again, and is one of the best pitchers of our lifetimes and a Hall of Famer. So hopefully the same happens. Hopefully the same happens.
Right? Yeah, you get the Halladay or you have the Ricky Romero, and I hope it's the former.
Yes, definitely. I almost called him Rocky Romero, but I was like, fuck, that's not his name. Rocky Romero's in New Japan. Ricky Romero, yes.
Why it took me a second to say Ricky Romero, because I'm like, nope, it's not Rocky.
I love it.
I know it's not Rocky.
Damn this cursed wrestling brain of mine. Anyway, that's good for sports, I think. I do have a television show to talk about, buddy.
Sure, go ahead. What's up? What are you watching?
On Crave TV in Canada and on HBO, there's a show called Somebody Somewhere, which I quite like. My roommate was watching it. I sat down for a couple episodes, and I'm going to go back and watch the whole thing. It stars Bridget Everett, who's a hilarious comedian. She's been on like Amy Schumer's show and some stuff like that. She's like a singer and a comedian. And you remember the show Joe Pera Talks With You that I like pimped and talked so much about that I love? It's kind of like a slightly more adult. It's like the HBO version of Joe Pera. They kind of stole a lot of the tone, but you know what? Joe Pera was an under the radar classic that a lot of people missed. So it's a thing that's going to be stolen from. That's what happens. And that's totally fine. It deserved to be ripped off of. But yeah, it doesn't make this show any less great. Bridget Everett is pretty unique, and I like her a lot. Somebody Somewhere, HBO and Crave. There have been 2 seasons, 14 episodes. It started January 2022, so it's a relatively new show. I would definitely highly recommend it. Good stuff.
Yeah, cool. Very cool, very cool. Always like seeing these new shows. And man, remember the good old days when, you had literally nothing to watch from Victoria Day until Labor Day?
Just reruns of Urkel and the Fresh Prince, brother.
Yeah. Long gone are those days. Long gone are those days.
And Simpsons, the first 6 seasons of Simpsons over and over on the CBC, on the Canadian Broadcasting Network. I miss those days.
Yep. Those are the days. Those were the days. But yeah, no, TV is always interesting in the summer. I always have like 1 or 2 shows that surprise you and that keeps you watching TV through the summer. And yeah, man, it's always a good time.
Always a good time. I have a clumsy little segue here for you. Some of my favorite summer memories as a kid, like 12 to 14 years old, is WWE WrestleMania 2000 or WCW NWO Revenge or No Mercy. Getting the boys over, 4 remotes, N64, throwing down some battle royals before the days of beers, soda pops, and cheesies, Boris. But that is what I think of when I think of AEW Fight Forever. And Big Homie, you have played the new AEW game, so you have a full review with Dax coming up. But what do you feel about this game?
It's a fun game. It's exactly as advertised, right? And again, wrestling fans are fickle, and if you go into this game experience, expecting a 2K like game, you're going to be very, very disappointed. This game is a pickup arcade game. It's not a simulation. It's not gonna get, you're not gonna get photorealism graphics, but you are gonna get a good time, a fun time. And just like AEW makes itself different in the wrestling world, AEW Fight Forever makes itself different in the video game world. And I, honestly, like this game, and you know, don't want to give everything away, but one of the things that Dax and I were talking about was how this game feels like a fighting game as opposed to a wrestling game.
That's awesome. That in and of itself will help get the casual player in. And the whole
Bingo.
point of doing a video game like, yeah, right. The whole point of doing a video game like this isn't to make, I don't know, fucking the Ocarina of Time, right? It's to get people into the wrestling product, and it's to make a good enough game that people like it, that you can keep this going. I am sure they didn't make it to suck, but at the same time, I feel like expectations were just astronomically high for no reason. From day one, they kind of told you what this was going to be. So I expected exactly what we've gotten, and I can't wait to play it, man. It seems like everyone is saying gameplay is really fun, but, and quite frankly, I don't care about the but. Like, who does? You had to fucking, if you were paying attention at all from fucking day one, you would have known that this was what it was going to be. So I don't know. Reviews have been like surprisingly negative because everyone's like, well, the gameplay is really good, but blah, 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 blah. It's just like, well, shut the fuck up. The gameplay is really good.
Okay, but look, here's the thing. Go to Slam Wrestling. Go to wrestling websites, read their reviews versus reviews from an IGN, which I think is the absolute most toxic fucking place in the world. And they can go suck a huge penis. Fair. Like IGN and those types of places, they don't review for quality. They review for making certain people happy because they don't want to lose early access.
Understood. And yeah, that's really weak. I hate when that stuff happens. I used to work for Operation Sports, and I feel like we were not to insult them, because I love that team, love those guys, but we were small enough that thankfully we didn't have to worry about that. We can just kind of be ourselves, and that's what you want to see. I think I saw a What Culture review that was actually quite fair and balanced. I thought they said I like this, I didn't like this, and these are the flaws. But like, yeah, I've seen a lot of just a lot of hate for it, and to me it's dumb. It's like classic wrestling fan, like, oh, this was a great match, the crowd blah blah blah, like this and that, 2 stars, like, what's going on?
No, that's exactly it, right? And like, let's remember, the Aki engine hasn't been used in 15, 20 years. This is the first go at it. This is the new generation of video game consoles. Like, they've built a very good foundation for future games, and I'm excited, man. I like where this is going, and this brought back that nostalgia level, and it's just a good game that you can pick up and play. You don't need to spend hours and hours learning shit, and I don't have the fucking time for that anymore, man. I just want to pick up a game and play. And
exactly right.
The biggest win here, and you're gonna appreciate and enjoy this, and that's the Switch version is fucking amazing.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Definitely am probably going to grab it on the Switch. I was actually thinking maybe, because it's out on PC, maybe if there's a good mod community, I'll just grab it on PC, Boris.
Yeah, it makes me wonder what are the minimum requirements. I'm gonna check that up actually.
Yeah, because that's something that, because yes, it is stylized as a Nintendo 64 game. Obviously, it's more modern than that, and it does look better than people are giving it credit for. But I think you could probably run it on not the best computer. And I do think with wrestling fans being as fucking crazy as they are, there could be some serious mods. You ever see the mods for Fire Pro? It's absolutely insane how deep they get.
Yeah. All right. So here are the system requirements for AEW Fight Forever for the PC. 64-bit processor, of course. Windows OS 10, 64-bit. Sure. Intel Core i5-3550 or an AMD FX 8150, which basically means it doesn't require you to sell your left testicle and right plus left, I don't know, whatever. It doesn't. You don't need the crazy computer to run this. 8 gigs of RAM, GeForce GTX 1060, Radeon RX 480, or the Intel Arc A380, which again, very realistic. You need DirectX version 12 and only 25 gigabytes of free space.
Nice. So yeah, I could run that on my decreasingly good laptop, I think, right? Like that's not that bad at all.
Your laptop, I don't know.
No, it's not. It's actually just in worse. It looks worse than it is. It's worse physical shape than it is performing shape. Like a couple of us, Boris. Anyway, do you want to move on to some professional wrestling now, buddy?
We might as well. We do have quite a bit to talk about.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So we got to review our live experience from Forbidden Door. I think we should save that for the main event. Also, let's preview Money in the Bank. Let's do that. Do you want to do that right now, or do you have some Ring of Honor to talk about? Some total nonstop action?
Yeah, so I'll talk TNA and some Ring of Honor. And Matt, I figured out one thing worse than watching Ring of Honor verse. That I found the one thing that's worse than watching Ring of Honor each and every Thursday for 2 to 3 hours.
Oh, what's that, Boris?
Having to watch it live and then watching it again on Thursday for 2 to 3 hours. Oh my fuck.
I saw some Ring of Honor matches, did not mind them. Taped before Collision. I did find it to be weird that they told us to show up at 6, bell time 6 o'clock. They if you had a media pass, it seemed like they wanted you to be there at 4:30. So I showed up very early, and my first media pass. Thank you very much to Sunday Night's Main Event and to AEW for hooking that up. I don't know if I love the media pass experience to a wrestling show, but I do love free tickets, so I probably won't. I probably won't kick another one out of bed.
You weren't writing an article, right? Like you didn't have an assignment. If you had an assignment,
yes,
it's a whole different experience.
Of course, absolutely. But anyway, fun times definitely at the Collision show. It's funny that you say that. To me, the worst part of Ring of Honor was waiting 53 minutes in my seat for the Ring of Honor show to start. I wish I would have showed up an hour and a half before or after I did.
Dude, I didn't want to get into this. I don't want to sound negative, but I was fucking pissed at AEW. And Tony Khan, get your shit together. Don't say 6 p.m. start time, bell time. If you're not going to start until 7 p.m., I left a family function because I didn't want to miss anything because I was taking my nephew and we left my sister's birthday. Yeah, of course, that's a Boris decision. But if you're going to say 6 p.m. start time, fucking start at 6, 6:10 the latest. Don't wait an hour later, right? Like that actually really did piss me off. And then have the fucking cojones to record more shit after. So you're taking this 2-hour TV show and you're making it a 4 to 5 hour experience live when you have another 7 hours or God knows how long we had to stay there on Sunday.
Honestly, had I even considered that they were going to keep going after the main event of Collision, I would have stuck around, but I didn't even I was like, well, this is over. Like CM Punk and Ricky Starks did their thing. It was actually really cool to see CM Punk live really hammer home the fact that he's about to turn on Ricky Starks. Like he was rolling his eyes at Ricky Starks. He was pointing at them like, who the fuck is this guy? What is he talking about? So that was cool. And then I just left. It's not like they were like, or maybe they did and I had already left, say like, stick around fans, there's more to come. I guess they just trotted out more matches as people were filing out.
They were also setting up the ROH stuff again, so that was a huge clue.
No, I actually didn't. Well, again, I scooted the fuck out of there. I was trying to catch some of Ricky and Punk as I was leaving through the monitors. Anyway, yeah, maybe that was on me, but I wish they would have let us know. But yeah,
this goes to the experience of AEW, right?
Yeah.
When you go to a WWE show or any other show that I've gone to live, they always say, hey, stick around because we have this going on after. It's like, cool, then you make your decision. I don't know, I just feel like, I don't know, it's happened many times that I've gone to AEW. When I went to Blood and Guts, when I went to this, it's just like, you know what my biggest pet peeve is in life?
What's that?
You waste my fucking time. You know, when like I'm not trying to say I'm busier or more important than anyone else, but I have a very strict schedule that I need to follow. And when that schedule gets fucked over, I get very fucking pissed off because if you don't respect someone's time, that's fucking bullshit, right? Like I go out of my way to respect people's time to make sure that, whatever. But I just find that as a company, AEW consistently does this. And I know this is like the smallest of rants, but this is something that, in my opinion, might get a little too much for some people, and guess what? You're going to start losing like that live fan experience, because I know as a fact Like, there were two friends of mine who went, and they did the same thing as me. They left something or didn't attend something because they wanted to watch the entire show from 6 to whenever. And when they started an hour late, they were fucking done.
Yeah, man, that is unfortunate, especially if you like you said, in this situation where you left a family gathering. But yeah, for me, I was just like, mildly pissed off. I was like, well, this is taking a while, you know. And then finally they got a match in the ring, 6:53. That's cool. And then I was ready to go. I definitely, as soon as it started, had a ton of fun.
Yeah.
I think I was getting up and getting beers probably too much. I think I pissed off the AEW photographer. Apologies to her if she's listening or anyone tangentially related. But at the same time, man, if you're gonna if you're gonna bring AEW to Canada, you got to expect people to drink. Sorry, if that's a problem, don't come to Canada. Anyway, but I can understand getting up so much can be frustrating, especially when you have a job to do. But yeah, no, I had a good time at Collision, man. I had a really good time at Collision. But yeah, talk about the Ring of Honor.
Yeah, watching it twice fucking sucked. Way too look. The matches again aren't bad, right? But Matt, from what you saw live before Collision, did any outside of the Dark Order match, did anything fucking matter?
I literally don't remember anything except for Stu Grayson's entrance.
There you go. Case in point, and that's my.
Oh
issue.
No, we saw Hiromu. We saw the time bomb. Of course, I remember that.
Okay, yes, that there was that
Shingo,
too.
baby.
But even that was the most random of matchups, zero anything. And yeah, that's what ROH would always do. And I know now but now it's like week after week after week after week after week after week of just watching this show. That is no different than a Dark Elevation or one of those YouTube shows. And I'm just tired, man. I am just tired. But look, the in-ring is fine. The in-ring is fun. But you need more than just in-ring at this point to keep people captivated.
I feel you, man. And to me, it's just like, I'm glad it exists. I'm glad wrestlers have jobs and have work, but I don't want to be the one watching it. I'll go and see live, and if Hiromu Takahashi and Shingo Takagi come out, I'll be like, fuck yeah. It'll cheer and it'll be awesome and memorable. And if Stu Grayson comes out in Canada, it'll be pretty cool and memorable. But yeah, I'm not going out of my way to watch Ring of Honor. There's so much to watch. I'm still trying to watch a bunch of old shit and work on some projects with that. You know what I mean? So there's so much wrestling out there. Just keeping up with AEW alone is too much for me. I don't watch Rampage, and I'm not going to watch Collision every week. So
12 matches. That's how many matches we got this week, and it was just too much. And it was cool, but having said that, awesome seeing some good old Canadian talent like Tariq, like Casey Spinelli getting their chance here in AEW ROH. And I love that for them, and that's super important. Give people all the jobs who deserve them. But AEW really needs to respect their fans' times a little more. It's something that, like I say, it's always kind of peeved me off. I've alluded to this after the Blood and Guts show last year, but this one just really did get to me, and it's not just me. I thought it was just a Boris thing, and that's why I never really ranted this way like this, but the fact that I had friends who literally said they will never attend an AEW show again because of XYZ reasons, and XYZ reasons is you say 6, you start at 7, then you keep going longer without saying anything, and it's gonna piss people off. And then I know what some people are gonna say. Then don't go. We don't care. Well, guess what? AEW cares, and they should care.
Fair enough, man. But yeah, I can only say it didn't bug me that much, but I also didn't stick around. Had I known, I might have, and then maybe I would have been more impatient. But yeah, though I was feeling impatient by the time, it was like 10-7, they did eventually win me over, and pretty quickly. So yeah. I certainly did not leave either of those shows thinking, oh, huff, harumph, I'm never coming again. I thought, I can't wait for AEW to come back to Toronto after leaving both times. So I had an excellent experience live, especially at Forbidden Door, because the energy of that crowd was just immense, just so good.
Yeah, no, that's the thing, right? Like, again, wrestling fan versus casual fans, and it's the debate that we love to have about AEW, right? But it's just something that needs to be considered, in my opinion. They need to take that into consideration. You can't, for lack of a better term, waste people's time. And I know that this rant, it's useless for some, and some people are probably yelling at me and thinking I'm an idiot or whatever. But you know what? That's the thing, right? Like at some point, AEW is just gonna really struggle to find new fans, and these are people who wanted to give them a chance.
Yeah, man, I don't know if it's that bad, but hey, it's a factor. And if they're losing one or even two or three or four people on something that is easily fixable and manageable, then they should fix it and manage it.
Yep, and that's what it comes down to. It just just people's time. And when you say 6 o'clock, and you know what the worst part is, they even changed it from 7 p.m. to 6.
Yeah, that's funny. But hey,
Anyways.
and then they started basically. It's anyway, man. Yeah. So do you, anything else on Ring of Honor other than that?
Honestly, oh my god, no! Like, there's nothing else. Like again, good matches, and great seeing people like Casey Spinelli and Tariq get their chance. And overall, very fun show. Very cool seeing some New Japan talent on Ring of Honor. But nothing important happened. But it is a fun wrestling show to watch if that's what you're in this for. Impact Wrestling. So, the main thing I want to talk about is, well, the Nick Aldis, Alex Shelley stuff. They're really trying to build a program out of this. Nick Aldis, heel as heel can be. And I kind of like the pairing of Nick Aldis. I'm not really sure if they're going to be paired, but Leo Rush also got himself involved because I think Leo Rush is going to be the main guy going after the X Division Championship. So it's essentially Nick Aldis and Leo Rush against the Motor City Machine Guns, at least for now, which is kind of cool. Cool to see Leo Rush kind of doing his thing. But I do want to talk about the X Division Championship. Chris Sabin and Trey Miguel started off this show. Match of the night for Impact Wrestling. Very good match. And we saw the return of a Zachary Wentz.
Oh, interesting. I was wondering if NXT would scoop him up pretty soon because I feel like people are forgetting about the whole thing.
Yeah, but Impact scooped them up, and then after the match, Trey Miguel essentially said that, fuck the X Division title. Him and Zach are going after the tag team title. So, dude, we can be seeing the Rascals versus ABC very soon.
Nice. That'll be a fun match. Definitely will check that out.
Yep. So that's the biggest takeaways from Impact Wrestling. Kind of an okay show. Again, the timing of this Australian tour is very weird. It's right in the middle of the build up to Slammiversary, but Slammiversary is having a very nice build. The Scott D'Amore PCO versus Macklin and Bully Ray stuff is building nicely. Trinity and Deonna Purrazzo's having a very good story, which is all Shaw and her crew kind of in the middle. And then obviously, like I mentioned, the Nick Aldis, Alex Shelley, Chris Sabin, Leo Rush stuff is going on, which overall, fun show, but just kind of that slow build. Hopefully after this Australian tour this weekend, we can get to, that last push into Slammiversary in a few weeks.
No doubt, my friend. Well, yeah, it sounds like TNA is all right. It seems like old Impact Wrestling, they're hanging in there. Definitely cool that Alex Shelley's the world champion.
Yeah. That's exactly it. All right, so that's that. So do you want to talk some Money in the Bank?
Yeah, man. So let's preview Money in the Bank and then kind of review Forbidden Door from the live perspective, and then we'll get the heck out of here and holler at you with the top 23 of 2023 on July 1st, Canada Day. So yes, let us first talk about the Money in the Bank ladder matches on this here Money in the Bank 2023 program. The women's Money in the Bank ladder match: Zelina Vega versus Becky Lynch versus Zoe Stark versus Bayley versus Io Sky versus Trish Stratus, Canadian legend. I think it's Becky's to lose. What do you think?
Here's the funny part. You can make a case for all of them, and there's very interesting stories that you can come out with all of these women. Io Sky has honestly, since Backlash in Puerto Rico, she's kind of steadily been building up her case. You have Bayley being Bayley, Becky Lynch being Becky Lynch. They're just legends in their own right in this division. We talked about this on the main show last weekend with the whole Zoe Stark, Trish Stratus stuff. Zelina Vega is kind of like that odd woman out. But I honestly think that we're going to be seeing either Io Sky or Zoe Stark win. Out of those two, I'm going to put my money on the long-term story of Zoe Stark and Trish Stratus.
Oh, interesting. So you're picking, who are you picking then?
Zoe
specifically?
Stark. Zoe Stark to win.
Okay.
Trish Stratus to demand the briefcase from her.
Interesting. I like it. I like where your head's at. I was wondering if it was going to be a thing where, like, on top of the ladder, Trish would demand the win or something. But yes, no, I like it. Zoe Stark wins, and then Trish tries to weasel the case away from her.
Yep.
Cool. Men's ladder match: Ricochet versus Shinsuke Nakamura versus LA Knight versus Santos Escobar. Ya boy versus Butch versus Damian Priest versus Logan Paul. Briefly, I'll be quick in and out. Logan Paul's going to win this match. What do you think?
Yeah, I think LA Knight should win. Logan Paul will win because of the Tyrus effect.
Yeah, man, exactly. And you're not a real wrestling fan if you don't like Logan Paul as Mr. Money in the Bank, just like you're not a real wrestling fan if you don't like NWA champion, the Fox News Funkasaurus.
If you squinted hard enough on Sunday, El Phantasmo looked like Logan Paul.
I know exactly what you mean. I saw that. I saw a little bit of that. I saw him cutting a promo on YouTube, and I was like, what the fuck is Logan Paul cutting a promo about Forbidden Door? Oh, wait, that's El Phantasmo.
But yeah, Logan Paul's going to win, and he's going to carry that briefcase literally everywhere.
I agree. Cody Rhodes versus Dominic Mysterio. Fun match. I think Dominic will win somehow.
I think Dominic's going to win because of Brock Lesnar to set up the Brock Cody match.
Yes, bull rope match, perhaps, or some kind of stipulation that Dusty Rhodes did once.
Dude, imagine the heat in London, England, that Dominic Mysterio beating Cody Rhodes is going to get.
Yeah, the London crowd is going to be raucous for sure. I can't wait for that, man. And the chief among the pops that I want to see, number one on the list, is Dominic Mysterio for sure.
Yep.
The World Heavyweight Championship defended Seth Rollins champion versus Finn Balor.
I think this is going to be the match of the night, and Seth is going to win.
I got my money on the men's ladder match for match of the night, but I do think the second part is correct. Seth is going to win. Finn's been pretty hot lately. Finn's been having a good run. He's cutting some awesome promos and having some good matches. So I think this is going to be quite good. We know Seth Rollins is great in the ring.
Yep, exactly. It's going to be a fun match regardless. And I don't think that this is going to quote unquote hurt Finn Balor, because I think he's going to be just fine. He's in a position that he deserves to be in, which is kind of like that mid to top tier guy. A guy that you'll always get a good match out of him, and he'll get his opportunity here and there.
The old Chris Jericho position, the old Jake the Snake Roberts position, $1 million man. You know it, you love it.
Yep, exactly.
Here's a match that could be match of the night. Absolutely, for sure. Easily could steal the show, especially in front of this audience. Gunther versus Matt Riddle for the Intercontinental title. Let's fucking go then, lads.
Gunther's winning. But here's my prediction. Here's my prediction, my friend. If you start scrolling around in Spotify, as one does, you might notice that a band called Rev Theory has released a new single. Do you know who Rev Theory is?
I've definitely heard that. Did they sing Bray Wyatt's theme?
No, they're the people who do Randy Orton's theme.
Oh,
they've released
Voices?
a updated version of Voices just this week.
The Dom Tight? J'en ai des voices dans mon tête. What's voice in French? Anyway, please continue. Voix? Is it voix? Might be voix.
I don't remember. So, new version of Voices just released this week. I have this feeling that we're going to be seeing the return of Randy Orton, costing Riddle the title to set up what was supposed to happen a year ago, which was the SummerSlam match between Riddle and Orton.
Oh, the dramatic turn in England, it would be a huge moment. Crowd would go nuts. Maybe, man. That'd be so cool. I like that prediction, Boris. You know that I'm a Randy Orton truther. One of the few internet fans who has been on Randy Orton's corner since day one. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. If you think Randy Orton is bad at wrestling, you're wrong and stupid. You're watching the wrong thing. Stop watching wrestling. You could say he's boring. To you personally, that is fine. If you think he's bad at wrestling, you're an idiot and you don't understand professional wrestling. Anyway, I'm so pumped to see Randy Orton back. And let's fucking go then. This match is going to be excellent. Gunther versus Matt Riddle.
Yep, this is going to be a great match. It's going to be a great match regardless.
Yes, sir. Tag team match for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, your champs, versus former champs Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. Actually, they've got a somewhat intriguing match here because of the fact that Liv and Raquel lost the titles without losing them. So I do think the UFC ladies will win, but there's a little bit of spice on this one. I generally would not have cared about a women's tag team title match just because WWE treats them like shit.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it, and I agree with you. I know that this has been done and it's always overdone, but Raquel needs to at some point turn heel, and this is the perfect time.
Agreed. Agreed. It should happen. I'm not sure if it is the perfect time, but that doesn't mean that they will pull the trigger now. But I do agree this is the moment to do it. And that leaves us with our presumptive main event. Perhaps not really, but I'm thinking it's going to be the main event. Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa versus Jimmy and Jey Uso, the Bloodline Civil War tag team attraction.
This is an interesting match. I think the Usos somehow will win.
That's interesting because usually you think the heels need to win the first one to keep the feud going, but the heels are so strong. Roman Reigns is so strong that you almost need them to lose the first one to keep the feud going. So I think ultimately I agree. A big triumphant babyface main event win for the Usos, who kind of need a win right now.
Yep, that's exactly it. And, I wish I could tell you what we knew what was coming next, but with this storyline, there's just so many twists and turns, peaks and valleys that you just don't know. So it's hard to predict what direction they're going to go in.
Yeah, exactly right. And some people say it's been stretched out too long. As somebody who dips in and out of WWF programming, like I'm not watching weekly, I watch here and there, and I watch every pay-per-view. I quite enjoy it. But again, I'm not being bogged down by it every week. So I understand thinking that this storyline has long run its course. For me, I'm still in.
Yep, exactly. That's exactly it.
Sweet. All right. Well, buddy, that leaves one thing. Our main event of the evening, Forbidden Door 2 from the Scotiabank Arena, the Air Canada Centre, if you nasty. The best show I've ever been to, the best match I've ever seen in person. You know what I'm talking about. Athena versus Billy Starks. No, I'm just kidding.
Yep, 100%. It was, I got nothing. But
anyway, did you know? Yeah, go.
Best pay-per-view in Toronto. 100% has to be, right? It was a great show from start to end. It started becoming a little difficult closer to the end. Long weekend, long night, but it was still the fact that they were able to still captivate me. That's all that matters.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I had a lot of fun. Said this on the Dynamite show, but I sat beside a lovely couple and a dude from Vancouver who was actually from England, and we were shooting the shit a little bit. Also, Justin Lacey, friend of the show, was there with me, and yeah, it was just a lot of fun, man. Just a celebration of professional wrestling. Did you know that Tom Lawler apparently wrestled on the show? Because I missed that. I came in halfway through. Yeah, I came in halfway through the Mogul Embassy. So fuck, I missed the filthy one. Filthy Tom. Wish I would have seen him.
Yeah, I missed him too, right? Like I came right as the, I guess, 8-man tag or whatever that was.
Yes.
Whatever match. Yeah. The Mogul Embassy match. Yeah, that's when I kind of showed up. And it just kind of sucks. But yeah, it was a fun night, man. Overall fun night. Crowd was great. Wrestling was fantastic. Some of the match placements was a little odd. I think what really, if they had put the Kenny Ospreay match as the main event or the sub-main event, everything would have been fine. But having that 6-man tag that just seemed off and no one seemed to click right before the main event kind of took a lot of steam out of the main event. But the main event was it was fine. Holy shit. I don't know how Danielson wrestled with that arm.
Oh man, it's incredible. Truly something special, man. That guy. He and him talking about it in the post show press conference was really enlightening, illuminating to see how smart this guy is and how dedicated he is, man. He's not just a grunt meathead, you know what I mean? He carefully weighed the risks and the rewards and decided, fuck it, I'm going for it because I'm fucking Bryan Danielson. But yeah, let's go through match by match briefly here. And I too had a fun night. Thankfully, I got on the streetcar right before the rain hit. It started fucking pouring rain not too long after that show. And just a fun night in Toronto. Also had a fun night after Collision, going out with some friends, having a couple. So yes, good times all around. So I arrived during the 8-man tag Mogul Embassy of Swerve Strickland, Toa Leona, Brian Cage, and Bishop Khan. They defeated Cheos, Boris, Chaos, Rocky Romero, Chuck Taylor, Trent Beretta, and El Desperado. So I can't really put a rating on that match. I didn't see all of it, but it seemed pretty good. Crowd was into it.
Yep, it was fine. It was what it was.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Athena versus Billy Starks. Disappointing match. Very basic. Athena's good, but it just felt like it never really got out of first gear. I was hoping Billy Starks would win, but it's just yet again like predictable AEW booking. I struggled. I was going to say boring there, but I caught myself. I don't want to call it boring. Extremely predictable AEW booking. Very few upsets in AEW. Very, very few shocking results.
AEW needs to be very careful about putting people on TV before they're ready. That's all I'm going to say.
I don't think that's a criticism that should be levied to this particular match, but I know what you're saying in some respects. I don't think Billy Starks is guilty of that at all, personally.
I don't think she's ready at all, but that doesn't mean she's not good, right? Like there's certain things that she did in that match that made some awkward interaction with Athena, but overall it was an okay match. It was what it was, but AEW just needs to take time with these young kids. They're kids. They are children.
Yeah, literally, she's 18 or 19 years old, right? So yeah, an average wrestling match, nothing bad, nothing particularly good, dude. Like 2.5 doors out of 5 for this one. El Phantasmo versus Stu Grayson. Couple good Canadian boys. A fine match. I would say above average professional wrestling match. It was like 7 minutes of good action in a hot crowd. What's not to like?
Yep, exactly.
So yeah, we'll go 3 Smash Brothers out of 5 for that match. Another one on the pre-show, another solid pre-show match, 3 out of 5. Los Ingobernables versus the United Empire. So this match was a 6-man tag team match. It was Shingo, Bushi, and the Time Bomb Hiromu Takahashi versus Jeff Cobb, Kyle Fletcher, and TJP. So yeah, another fine pre-show match.
Yeah, this is fine. This was exactly what it needed to be, which is basically a showcase for everybody and for the Canadian crowd to get to watch Los Ingobernables if you never saw them before.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So it was very, very fun to see them again because I had seen them on Collision. We get to the main show, MJF versus Hiroshi Tanahashi. This match, rare case of a match that is much better live than on paper. Than on television. I don't know why I said on paper. Much better live than on television was this match. I feel like for the most part, if you see a really classic match like Ospreay versus Omega, you miss a little bit of it live. There are certain things that I missed, certain nuances that I missed. I didn't realize until I listened to Dave Meltzer talk about it that there were callbacks to Antonio Inoki versus Muhammad Ali in this match. It's just when you're live, it's not something that you're thinking. You're just you're cheering, you're in the moment, you're watching the action, you're drunk beside your friends and your new friends you made. You're not thinking of fucking Ali versus Inoki, you know what I mean? So there are nuances that are lost when you watch a really classic match live. This was the opposite. This was, you see the nuances of MJF working the crowd and Tanahashi when you're actually in that fucking crowd. So I was really impressed with this match live, and then I watched it back, and it was not anything to write home about.
Tanahashi, here's the thing. He's lost a step, and it's very obvious, and I don't want to get into that, but where he makes up for it is the fact that he can still control a crowd.
1,000% master showman, and he plays them like a violin. 1,000% on that. But yeah, a good match. 1,000 million agree. A good, I would say 3.5 stars live, 3 stars on paper, on I keep saying that, on television.
Yep.
Next match was great on both formats. CM Punk versus Satoshi Kojima. Owen Hart Cup first round. Awesome to be part of this crowd. It was like 80-20 boos, 90-10 boos from where I was sitting.
Yeah, that's pretty much, I think that's exactly where it was. And this match was fine for what it was. CM Punk knows how to work a crowd, and Kojima gets his flowers in North America.
This should have been the opener of the show. This reminded me of like, to some extent, the Kenny Omega versus Hangman Page opener. Ironically, they worked a match where you knew that they weren't going all out. They were working a match that was intelligent. It was an opening match, and it was a brilliant version of that. This should have opened the show, and MJF Tanahashi should have gone on second, in my opinion. And I think like starting the show with CM Punk's theme would have been a huge way to start. But I guess you don't want to start the show with huge boos. I guess I understand that. To me, it would have been awesome. But yeah, a great match live and a great match back on television, I think, as well. CM Punk defeats Kojima. 4 stars, I would say.
Okay, cool.
A minus, but a solid A in Canada, 80% for sure. Here was just a 85%, not an A minus, just a for sure A. Cassidy, Zack Sabre Jr., Shibata, and Daniel Garcia, 4-way match for the international title. I admit I got a little dusty being alive for Katsuyori Shibata's entrance. Got a little choked up seeing that man come to the ring, like knowing this guy almost fucking died, man, in 2017.
Yeah. This match was a lot of fun. This match was great. They did a really fun, different style of match, and everyone just did really, really well. I thoroughly enjoyed this match.
Agreed, buddy. So yes, if the previous was an A minus, this one is an A. In Canada, that is 85%. At least it was when I was in school. So we consult the calculator. That is 4.25 stars out of 5. We're gonna go 4.25 hands in pockets for your international champion, Orange Cassidy. Liked it a lot. Best match on the show so far.
Yep, agreed. Actually, the person I went with was not an Orange Cassidy fan going into the night.
Nice. And they left an Orange Cassidy
hated
fan.
him even more. No. They were. This is the thing, right? Watching some of these people live is a whole different experience.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, no, I think Orange Cassidy is great, but I've liked Orange Cassidy before he was Orange Cassidy. Not to be that fucking guy. That was so annoying. I'm sorry I said that. As soon as that came out of my mouth, I was like, fuck, I would delete this podcast if I was listening to it. Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, no, for sure. That's something that you should be telling me for sure. Moving IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Your champion Sonata versus the Youngle Boy Jack Perry. His final match as a babyface. Obviously, the big story here was the heel turn. It was a little telegraphed when on the Jumbotron after the match, they showed Taz's face. And it's like, why did they just cut to Taz for us? We're not even hearing him speak. That's odd. And then 5 seconds later, clothesline, here we go. So I thought Taz sold this so brilliantly on television. It was so great the way that he put over Jungle Boy fucked up and he's going to die. And yeah, the heel turn was better than the match.
There's some production stuff with AEW. And again, I don't want to be that guy, but the sound was off a little bit. There were certain things that they did. But yeah, no, the telegraphing was kind of cool. Where you knew something was going to happen was when Jungle Boy and Hook stayed on the ramp to wait for their cue for the camera. You knew that something was going to come up at that point because there was no point for them to still be out there. So it's like, okay, they're going to actually go with it. And they did. So well done.
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, well, 3.5, solid B for the package for everything. It was a memorable situation there. Next up, this match was excellent. The Elite, Hangman Adam Page, Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson, featuring Eddie Kingston and Tomohiro Ishii versus the Blackpool Combat Club, John Moxley, Wheeler Yuta, and Claudio Castagnoli, Boris, and Kenosuke Takeshita, and Shota Umino, 10-man tag, arguably the best 10-man tag of all time. There's been Survivor Series matches, whatever. Arguably, you could say
better than Calgary Stampede.
Well, no, it's an argument. It's an argument for sure. It is certainly an argument. Would I say that? No, Calgary Stampede was better. Depending on how you split this pie up, there's War Games matches that have been better. There's Survivor Series matches that have been better. But in terms of a pure 10-man tag, one of the absolute best you will ever fucking see in your life. This was awesome to see live.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Kingston was great. Moxley was great. Everyone did such a fun job. It was just, you know what? Here's the thing, Matt. This match was fun.
So much fun. Yeah, so much fucking fun. So just like the Fatal 4-Way match, I would rate it the same rating, whatever number you gave to that. Maybe even slightly better than the Fatal 4-Way. You could talk me to bumping that Fatal 4-Way off of our list at the end of the year. This one must be on the list at the end of the year. So we will settle for another 4.25 spinning back fists for Eddie Kingston. 4.25 back fists to the future, Boris.
Yep. Let's do it.
All right, so we move on to the Women's World Championship, Toni Storm versus Willow Nightingale. I thought it was their best match. They've wrestled a couple times. I hate seeing Willow Nightingale get more and more popular and continue to lose. She is winning more. She's obviously the strong women's champion. She does not win nearly enough in AEW.
Agreed 100%. This honestly should have ended in a schmoz, in my opinion. If you're gonna use a schmoz, especially in a show like Forbidden Door, this should have been done here.
Agreed. Yeah, just more of the same boring antics with the Outcasts. We've seen it 1,000 times. Every match is the same. I am completely done with the Outcast interference. It ruins whatever has happened in the match to that point. It just feels like a cliche, lack of creativity, lack of ideas, just roll out the same old yada yada. It is go away heat for me. It is not working. But yes, so I thought a good match ruined by the typical nonsense, but still a good match. We're gonna go 3 Willows out of 5.
Yep. Agreed with everything you said.
Amazing. That brings us to the best match I have ever seen live in my life. Will Ospreay versus Kenny Omega 3, their third match, their second of this feud for the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship. Just absolutely mind-blowing, incredible shit. I think when Kenny Omega kicked out of the One-Winged Angel at 1, my soul left my body. I almost literally leapt from the 300s onto the ring like Jimmy Superfly Snuka. I don't think I would have made it, Boris.
From the screwdriver shot to the V trigger, not the V trigger, the elbow to the back to the One-Winged Angel. Everyone in that building thought the match was over. But
and when he kicked out at one, defiantly, angrily, with passion and vigor, he kicks out at 1, and 20,000 people jumping up and down. I wasn't the only one. Like my friend and the women beside us jumping up and down when this man kicked out at 1 in a professional wrestling match. This is what it's all about, man.
One complaint about this match, the minor complaint about this match, is why kick out Don Callis if you're going to allow him back in and like nothing happened?
Absolutely right, man. Wrestling is fake. Everything in there is. It's tough to say that about this match because Kenny Omega got dropped on the fucking crown of his head. Like, not everything is fake, but the fact is, it's a predetermined sport, a choreographed bit of entertainment. And if you create a fake rule, you need to have fake consequences. Otherwise, everybody who's watching it is going to pick out and say that's stupid. Because every person who has ever said anything about this match has said, well, it was incredible, one of the best ever, but the Don Callis thing was fucking stupid. Because it was incredible, one of the best ever, but the Don Callis thing was fucking stupid. Like, it's a clear flaw with this brilliant match, but it's not enough to take it down from 5 stars. I think there's like certain flaws in The Godfather and The Godfather 2 as well. There's still 5-star movies, still a 5-star match. I actually think, well, we're going to talk about exactly where it ranks, but if you've been paying attention to our podcasts, you know this is going to be high up on the list of the matches of the year. And one of the best things I've ever seen in my life, man. Just absolutely breathtaking professional wrestling.
Dude, yeah, that's exactly it. Like, I just feel privileged and honored that I was in the building, that I can say I was there. You know, I love to say I was there when The Rock faced Hulk Hogan. And I honestly do think that this match, from a pure experience point of view, ranks up there and beyond that. So,
yes, I will never, ever in my life forget the reaction to Kenny Omega kicking out at 1. I will never, as long as I live, forget that. On my deathbed, that will pass through when I'm seeing my life flash before my eyes. That will be one of the wrestling memories that come. You know, I literally, like, it's what it's all about, man. It's why we watch this shit as kids. And this is why those two performers do this. This is why Tony Khan fucking started this company. This is what it's all about.
Will Ospreay was having a real hard time playing a heel because you can tell he was fucking having a blast out there.
Oh my God. Yeah, just fucking wiping his arse with the Canadian flag, which is, a couple people in this country might agree with him. I thought that was just a hilarious spot.
You can get away with that here in Canada because we don't take that as serious as others, right? So.
No, that like in the wrong place of a certain state or two, you might get fucking shot before you left the ring.
Yep, exactly.
Anyway, a full 5 burger, just 5 guys, just 5 stars for this one. Like if we did 6 or 7, it would be one of those, like just an all-timer. Absolutely perfect, brilliant, first ballot Hall of Fame match.
And we go from that to the next match.
I was in the shitter for most of this one, bud. You talk about this. I did see the very end. I saw Sammy do the 630 on the fucking departed remains of Sting. The poor Stinger, good God.
Was Sting. Okay, actually, one last thing about Kenny Omega, and then this is like the one last comment, is I feel sorry for whatever the receipt's going to be to Will Ospreay for that bang to the head.
Oh, true. Yeah, man. And it might happen sooner than later, buddy, because they could run it right back in London.
Yep. Anyways, so going back, and the reason why I say that is because was Sting supposed to move out of the way from Sammy Guevara?
I see. That's exactly what I said live. When I saw him do that, I was like, oh shit, I think Sting was supposed to move and didn't get out of the way in time. Yep. Especially because the way they set it up, Jericho made Sammy go. Sammy didn't want to go. Jericho voluntold Sammy, get your ass up there and fucking jump off of this thing. And yeah, Sting did kind of move. He just was not moving fast enough.
The fact that Sting was involved in the finish and Guevara was out of the match. So I think that Sting just didn't get up with enough time in time, and he just took the brunt of it because that just looked awkward as fuck.
I 1,000,000,000% agree. And it definitely looked so live. Absolutely looked like that live.
Outside of that, these guys don't necessarily wrestle together each and every week. And it just sometimes people don't click, and I don't care what match you put after Ospreay and Omega, it just wasn't gonna be it wasn't gonna live up to what we just saw. People were still fucking sweating, having a smoke, doing whatever they needed to do after that match.
Literally had to go grab a drink. Actually, the beer might have been closed by that time.
Closed by then.
But yes, it was. Yeah, but I had to go for a walk, take a pee schnut, gather my fucking bearings, Boris, because that was craziness. So yeah, no rating for this one. I don't think I have to go back and watch it, but I did see the ending. It seemed like the crowd was kind of into it. That brings us to our main event of the evening. I do understand before the show why you would have Bryan Danielson over Kazuchika Okada by submission as the main event of Forbidden Door, because you don't want Ospreay to get the win and the show go off the air. You don't want New Japan to win. It is Tony Khan. He's booking this show. He wants his man to win, and that be the final thing you see. And I do understand why they did that. Having said that, it's very hard to argue that Ospreay versus Omega should have fucking main evented this show. Like, hello. The crowd did not give this match the respect and the energy it deserved because the crowd had no more energy to give. So it's the way
Danielson
it was. But
said it after the show when he went on the mic.
Yeah.
7 fucking hours.
Yes, man. Yes, absolutely. And he was genuinely thankful for us. He thanked us for sticking with him and for giving us the energy that this main event, required. Although I didn't think we quite got there. I'll tell you this: Final Countdown was fucking sick live, singing every word of that, boy. And that was so cool. The guy beside me, the British lad beside me, he said too. He predicted it. He was like, "I bet they're gonna do Final Countdown." And I was like, oh, no, I don't know, man. And then, like, and actually, like, I shook his leg. I was like, oh, you called it. They're doing it, brother. And he was like, what? And then, it was so sick. Oh, good times, man. But yes, I think the entrance was amazing. Knowing Danielson overcame a broken fucking forearm just snapped in two like a goddamn twig. Amazing. But the actual product that we got was like there's something off about it.
Yeah, Agreed. Again, these are people that don't face each other every day. Who knows how much time they had to prepare? Knowing that you're going on last, like there is so many elements that we don't understand as fans, and I don't care to understand because it's not my job to understand them. But they still gave us a great match. They gave us a dream match. Is it 5 stars? No. Is it better than average? Fuck yes. What gives it more rating for me is Danielson's fucking heart in it.
Absolutely. But it's interesting. This is like a slightly disappointing main event for extenuating circumstances that are absolutely out of the performer's control. And they went in there and did everything they could, and they had a good job. They did a good job. But they didn't have the best match they possibly could versus a match like Punk versus Kojima, who had the best match they possibly could have had. So I don't know. I would say I would kind of rate this the same. And if I had to pick one to go back and watch, I would sooner go back and watch Punk versus Kojima. So let's give it an A-, and that's no fault to the guys because you break your fucking arm in a match. It should be 0. You should throw it out. And Bryan Danielson is a warrior. He is an inspiration to anyone who has ever faced adversity. So fuck yeah. Great job, fellas.
Yep. Like that's exactly it. You said it best, man. You honestly said it best. All things considered, this match was a lot of fun. Hindsight is 2020. And I just love the fact that, that's 2 shows in Toronto where the debate on what match should have closed happens.
Yeah, it's funny how that happens. A part of that is the crowd in Toronto taking these matches over. And part of it is because they book Hall of Fame all-time legendary matches in the middle of the fucking card in Toronto for some reason.
Right? It felt like a privilege to be part of this crowd, right? Like, you kind of felt, and I know I shit on Tony Khan and the company a lot, but that's because I hold them to a high standard, right? And I will talk about that high standard that I hold them to. But I felt privileged that Tony Khan brought Forbidden Door to Toronto.
Absolutely, man. It was a celebration of wrestling, and it was cool to be there, feel that energy with those wrestling fans. And yeah, I loved it. I had a great time. And yeah, at that moment, I felt thankful, and I do feel thankful, man. I said it too. I'll criticize Tony Khan here and there, especially when doing an AEW Dynamite podcast and trying to like break down the minutia of what's happening on this television show. Sometimes you don't agree with what they're doing, but at the same time, this man fucking saved professional wrestling, man. It's so cool that we get to see Zack Sabre Jr. versus Katsuyori Shibata on fucking TSN 5. That's bananas.
Yeah. Look, I took this show as a fan. And I'm so glad that I did. I'm so glad that the entire SNME crew was able to just sit back and relax because, again, I don't think people realize how much work actually goes on to produce, to get everything that we send out your way. And I'm not trying to kiss ass. I'm not trying to blow smoke. It just, sometimes you just want to be a fan because there's something about doing all these podcasts, and you and I have had this debate so many times, is crossing that line of having fun and it feeling and turning into a job.
Yeah, man. And no, like, I mean, I don't mind this being a job if I'm making some money from it, of course, but like until that point, yeah, we are. And like, even then I will never be like a wrestling journalist, quote unquote. Like I don't ever want to be Dave Meltzer or John Pollock, who are incredible at their jobs. The thing that's amazing about Dave Meltzer, Boris, is not only is he the Elliot Friedman and Adam Schefter of wrestling, but he's also the Roger Ebert of wrestling. He also is the one who kind of is the foremost critic, for lack of a better term. And I hate the term critic, but that's the thing that I want to do. I want to be the new Roger Ebert of wrestling. I want to take that over from Dave Meltzer. Let John Pollock do the fucking news side. Let Sean Ross Sapp do the news side. Nobody is taking over the other side. That's what I want to fucking do. So,
yep.
And that's why I love wrestling. And that's like, I just want to share my love of wrestling with other people because I fucking love this crazy, dumb thing. And when you see a thing like Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay, it sticks with you for the rest of your life, brother, for the rest of your life.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it, my friend. It was an excellent show. And like I say, I feel privileged to be able to be part of the crowd, and I feel even more privileged that I was able to enjoy it as a fan. And there's a sense of pride and privilege of being able to talk about my experience with people who, for some reason, want to listen to us talk and rate this stuff. And again, I thank each and every single one of you for giving us that opportunity, whether you're listening to us on BAM Weekly, BAMSportsEntertainment.com, or SNMERadio.com. It means so freaking much to both Matt and I, and that's why we go out of our way to watch way too much wrestling. No human being should watch as much wrestling as we do, so that we can rate and talk and have fun and celebrate professional wrestling, that crazy, wacky sport that we love so much.
Yeah, brother, in the top 23 of 2023 coming at you tomorrow on Canada Day. We'll break down exactly where this great match lands on the list, because you know it's going to be at least in the top 23. It's nice to talk to you, brother. Have a good one.
As always, keep it locked here on snmeradio.com, because we have so many shows, because, man, there's so much wrestling on the weekend nowadays. From SmackDown to Rampage to Collision, we have so much coming at you. And then on Sunday, we have the main show with so much to talk about. Matt, as always, a pleasure to chat weekly with you as we chat some sports, entertainment, and sports entertainment. He's Matt. I'm Boris. Till next time, stay tranquilo.
And to quote the great Brody Lee, yeah, yeah, yeah.